This piece is from February the 23rd, I've just bitten my tongue, which was Saturday, on the Echo. The poorest Liverpool boys have 11-year life expectancy gap. The poorest boys in Liverpool will die more than 11 years earlier than their wealthiest counterparts, and the life gap is getting wider. According to data published by Public Health England, the average boy in Liverpool born between 2015 and 2017 will live to be 76 years and 1 month old. But boys born into the most deprived 10% of families can expect to die 11 years and 1 month before those born into the least deprived gap. This gap's risen from 10 years and 1 month for boys born between 2013 and 2015 and is at an all-time high since modern records began in 2010. Dr. Max Davey, Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health Officer for Health Promotion, said, "Sadly, child poverty lies at the root of many risk factors for children and young people's health, as well as mortality. We know that children born in the most deprived areas of the UK are more likely to have negative health outcomes than their most affluent peers. This is unacceptable, and with child poverty predicted to increase over the next decade, it's clear that urgent action is needed." Universal early years services continue to bear the brunt of cuts to public health services, leaving many of our most vulnerable without access to critical children's health services. That's why we're calling on government to halt any further cuts to these vital universal public health services to ensure a healthy start for all children across the country, regardless of where they're born or where they live. The data shows the gap between the richest and poorest, but doesn't give the average life expectancy for children at the extremes. The figures show that while there's also a significant gap between the richest and poorest girls in Liverpool, this is smaller than the one for boys. The most affluent girls born between 2015 and 17 can expect to live 8 years and 1 month longer than the poorest girls, a slight increase from the 8-year difference for those born between 2013 and 15. A Department of Health and Social Care spokesman said, "We're committed to giving people 5 extra years of healthy, independent life by 2035 and to ensuring everyone gets the same great health care no matter where they live, which is why our long-term plan for the NHS, backed by an extra £20.5 billion a year by 2023-24, puts tackling health inequalities at its heart. We've made some progress with cancer survival at a record high, while smoking rates and teenage pregnancies are at an all-time low."
This is an article from Tuesday's Echo, and the headline is "Star Daniel Thanks Hospital in the Best Way Possible," and this is by Paddy Shen. Daniel Bell is an Alder Hey superstar. After doctors found he had a brain tumour the size of an adult's fist when he was only 3 years old, the Ormskirk boy's life was saved by the Children's Hospital. Now 8, he will be among former patients celebrating a pioneering partnership between Alder Hey and Matalan, which has raised over £2.7 million for the hospital over 5 years. Every year, as part of the campaign, Matalan sell a product to raise cash. Daniel, who was involved in last year's campaign, called Superstars and featuring star-themed pyjamas, will visit Matalan's headquarters in Knowsley to say thank you. It was when Daniel was a tot that Mum and Dad Rosalind and Colin noticed a change in his behaviour. Rosalind recalls, "His personality literally changed. He was grumpy, had lots of tantrums, was sick and went back to sleeping in the day too, which was the total opposite of what he'd been previously." Thankfully, Rosalind had seen a recent Head Smart campaign and recognised some of the symptoms of a brain tumour. Ormskirk A&E quickly realised the severity of the situation, rushing him to Alder Hey, a centre of excellence for brain conditions. Rosalind said, "It was like the bottom had fallen out of my world. Our lives changed in a split second." At Alder Hey, neurosurgeon Sasha Burns drained fluid from Daniel's brain during a 3-hour life-saving operation. The next day his tumour was removed during a 9-hour op by neurosurgeon Connor Malucci. Mr. Malucci told us that Daniel had a cystic tumour which was the size of an adult's fist, and there was a possibility of him losing motor and mobility skills as a result of the procedure. The operation was a success, helped by the 3T MRI scanner, which allows surgeons to scan the brain in theatre. Alderhay is the first hospital in Europe to have this kit, paid for by Alderhay Children's Charity. Rosalind added, "When we got the scans, which told us no further treatment was needed, it was an amazing relief. I cried a lot after that." Daniel is now a healthy and very active little boy, and a budding actor, his mum explained. Daniel was recently in Little Shop of Horrors with his local performing arts club, which is involved in raising money for Alderhay Children's Charity. Daniel, with sisters Layla, 9, and Serum, 3, collects used Christmas trees. People pay £10 for the Bell family to remove them and recycle them, with proceeds going to Alderhay, and so far they have raised more than £22,000. As a result, Daniel was named a Young Fundraising Ambassador for AHCC. Rosalind said, "Alderhay is such an inspirational place, full of amazing people. We are fortunate to have them on our doorsteps." Matalan's CEO, Jason Hargreaves, said, "I'm so proud to be celebrating another really special campaign and an unbelievable 5 years with Alderhay." AHCC Acting Head of Corporate Fundraising, Hayley Thomas, said, "The money raised has made a huge difference, helping us build phase 2 of our research and education building and fund life-saving equipment."
This is from the Echo, Monday 25th of February. Hotel gets back on track in wake of digger drama. Photos show the first look inside the budget hotel torn apart in a digger rampage after building crews worked around the clock to repair the damage. Travelodge's new property on Edge Lane was trashed by a disgruntled worker in a digger who mowed into the lobby screaming expletives. However, photos taken when the Echo visited the site 1 month after the drama shows the hotel looking on the road to completion again. Travelodge said they hope the new Edge Lane property will be open in time for the Grand National after the digger rampage set building teams back by a number of weeks. Police were called to Edge Lane Innovation Park shortly before 3 p.m. on January the 21st to report a digger was being driven into the reception area of the hotel. In footage which went viral, the digger arm can be seen tearing down the ceiling, smashing through the windows and destroying the front desk. Staff at the budget hotel chain are still working out how much the rampage cost. Many of the finishing trades who had almost completed their work on the build had to be called back in. The ceiling also had to be refurbished after footage showed it being pulled down in the attack. Building work on the 71-room hotel started in May 2018 as part of a multi-million-pound investment that created 35 new jobs. Paul Warburton is the project development manager at the property who showed our reporter around the hotel. Speaking to the Echo at the hotel, he said, "I have just left the site about 5 minutes before it happened. I received a call saying what had happened. I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke." John Arthur Manley, 25, from Neverton, was arrested on February the 14th and charged with criminal damage and recklessly endangering life. Manley of St Aidan's Way was bailed to appear at Liverpool Crown Court on March the 15th. Shakila Ahmed, a spokeswoman for Travelodge, told the Echo, "Good progress is being made at the development of our Edge Lane Travelodge, which will be our 9th hotel in Liverpool. The construction team are working around the clock and we are aiming to get the hotel ready for the influx of visitors from all corners of the UK for the Grand National. Rooms across our 14 hotels across Merseyside are rapidly selling out for the annual race, so demand for good quality and great value rooms is high.
This piece is from the Echo on Tuesday, February the 26th. Roof with a view. Work to begin on a new city hotel. Work is finally due to begin on School Lane Hotel, Liverpool's one new independent hotel, which will offer views of the city from its rooftop bar. The hotel will be located inside the Russell Building on the corner of School Lane and Peters Lane, and will be operated by Hope Street Hotel Limited in a joint venture with YPG Developments Limited. The hotel will act as a sister to Liverpool's Hope Street Hotel. Work will begin this spring on the hotel, which is promising to offer guests a premium experience with 50 bedrooms, a restaurant with open-plan kitchen, a rooftop bar, yippee, and a gym, conference room and coffee lounge. Founder and CEO of Hope Street Hotel Limited, David Brewitt, said, "These are exciting plans that will deliver a high-quality hotel in one of the most popular cities for tourism in the UK. In the last 10 years, Liverpool visitors' economy has expanded by 66%, and Liverpool One is at the heart of the growth. Its reputation for the quality of its offer and the experience it provides for visitors create the perfect setting for School Lane Hotel."
This is an article from Tuesday the 26th of February's Echo, entitled "Lawyer Who Stole from the Dead Weeps as He is Jailed." Crooked solicitor created ghost files for clients to pay cash into his own bank. A crooked solicitor who stole £13,000 from his law firm, then tried to blame his employers, cried as he was jailed for 12 months at Liverpool Crown Court. Gregory Davis, 30, betrayed the trust of his mentor, Catherine Higgins, colleagues and clients at Catherine Higgins Law in Walton. The dad of one duplicated paperwork and created fake policy documents to request clients paid money into his own bank account. His despicable fraud even saw him take £540 from a deceased woman's estate, which he disguised as a payment for funeral costs. When rumbled, he started deleting emails, then made serious accusations against the firm, none of which were accepted or proven. He stole £13,397, and the court heard Davis of Kylemore Drive, Penrith Wirral, swindled the cash between September 2015 and July 2016. Davis, who has no previous convictions, was due to stand trial but admitted fraud when prosecutors agreed to drop charges of perverting the course of justice. Simon Christie, prosecuting, said, "This was a willful, persistent and cunning fraud over a period of 9 months, the defendant grossly abusing the trust of his employers and lay clients." Davis finished his training in 2012 and became a valued and trusted member of staff, eventually taking up the role of director. Mrs. Higgins had a disagreement with him in 2016 over a bonus, but at this stage she was unaware of any fraud. However, one of his clients called at the office in July 2016, having been asked by him to produce identification. Mrs. Higgins noticed the client had been asked to pay money into an HSBC account, but her firm didn't bank with them. A cheque revealed the file related to Davis's parents, and he'd been giving out incorrect account details. Mr. Christie said Davis realised his client's files were being scrutinised and became very agitated. Davis was suspended pending an investigation and told not to contact any employees or clients or use the company's IT facilities. He sent a resignation email trying to explain his behaviour, but when his cases were examined, ghost files were discovered, directing clients to pay money into his HSBC account. Staff also uncovered files with fictitious and unnecessary legal and general invoices totalling £4,806, and paid for by the firm, despite the fact they didn't use legal and general services. Catherine Higgins told the court she had trusted hard-working and ambitious Davis and hoped one day he would be her successor, but she felt numb and sick when she uncovered a web of lies and deception, then furious at how selfish Davis risked her future and that of her staff. Mrs. Higgins said both she and her colleagues suffered stress and worried about the firm's reputation, adding, "The feeling of betrayal was indescribable."
This is from Saturday Night's Echo, the 23rd of February, and it's entitled, "They Think It's All Over, It Is Now." The Churchill Way flyovers in Liverpool will be demolished this summer because they are no longer safe to carry traffic and too expensive to repair. The 1960s flyovers were closed last September for urgent checks. Now Liverpool Council has revealed they have significant defects, meaning they can't be saved. The council said it would be too costly and difficult to repair or replace them, so work will start in summer to bring them down. They would cost up to £60 million to rebuild, but demolition will cost £5.7 million. Junctions will have to be rebuilt to cope with the extra traffic now the flyovers are out of use and to make sure the Mersey tunnels don't get snarled up. And new bridges will have to be built to replace the pedestrian footbridges. Demolition will be a complex job. It will take months to come down, and that will involve road closures. Many of the problems date back to when the flyovers were built. In some parts, wooden moulds used to build the flyover broke open, meaning too much concrete was poured in and the flyover is heavier than was first thought. There are also serious problems with drainage. The survey also revealed some cables and steelwork supposed to be buried in the concrete was actually too near the surface. That means it has rusted. In some areas so much it has expanded and blown bits of concrete off the flyover. Trevor Cherryholm, Principal Project Manager at engineering firm Amy Consulting, said the structure was overstressed and that cracks had appeared over some of the supports. He said, "We found significant deterioration with failure of drainage, failure of joint and water ingress into the structure. That's exacerbated the deterioration." Councillor James Noakes, Liverpool Council's Cabinet Member for Highways, said the authority couldn't compromise on safety and there was no choice but to take them down. Councillor Noakes said, "We asked if they could be supported in some way. We've been told it is not feasible. With the structures we'd need, we'd effectively be severing part of the road system and we can't do that. Demolition will start in summer when there should be less traffic and better weather. Engineers from Amy and the council are working out how to pull down the flyover while minimising road closures, though some very busy roads will have to be closed while work takes place. Council officials will also have to talk to neighbouring businesses like National Museums Liverpool and Liverpool John Moores University over their plans. Because Churchill Way closed so suddenly and traffic had to be diverted quickly, that put a lot of pressure on junctions, but also let planners see how traffic would flow without the flyovers. Two junctions have been hard hit, the roundabout at the entrance to the Queensway Tunnel and the junction of Byram Street and Hunter Street. As the flyovers come down, these junctions will need to be remodelled to help traffic flow. Andy Barr, Assistant Director of Highways and Planning, said, "Those were reaching the point where we needed to do something with them anyway, and this has crystallised the need to develop a proposal. One controversial plan is for a bus hub at Old Haymarket. Businesses there are worried about having so many buses parked so near their premises, but council officials will consider whether the demolition of the flyover will leave more space."
This is from the Echo on Monday the 25th of February. Students join in the fight to beat hate crime. Students from Alsop High School attended the launch of National Hate Crime Awareness Week at the Church of Our Lady in St Nicholas in early February. The event was organised by Merseyside Police Community Engagement Unit. The event, chaired on February the 5th by BBC Radio Merseyside presenter Roger Phillips, included an interview with Dave Kelly, founder of Daisy UK and the CEO of Tranmere Rovers FC, Mark Palios. During the event, Sasha Taylor spoke movingly about her experience as a victim of hate crime as well as human trafficking. The People's Players of Liverpool Royal Court performed a short play entitled United Against Hate. The play, written by Paula Curry, gave a moving account about the racism which is often faced by young people within schools and the wider community. The Levi poet, Levi Tafari, recited two brilliant poems about diversity and tolerance, and during his animated rendition of his poems, the Allsop students were encouraged to chant, "We celebrate diversity." Also among those present were Merseyside Police Chief Constable Andy Coop, QPM, and Lord Mayor of Liverpool, Councillor Christine Banks. The welcome address was delivered by Reverend D. Crispin Paling, Rector of Liverpool. Chief Constable Andy Coop, QPM, commented, "Everyone should be free to live their lives without fear, hatred or intolerance. There's no place in our society for hate crime, and my message is simple. If you've experienced a hate crime or incident, please report it." Mersey Police and Crime Commissioner Jane Kennedy commented, "This event, launching National Hate Crime Awareness Week, is an opportunity to celebrate and promote our inclusivity and our region's rich diversity. At a time when our country and the world seems deeply divided, it's more essential than ever that we remain vigilant to combat discrimination, racism and prejudice in our communities."
This is an article from Wednesday's Echo, 27th of February. Curfew of buses spells isolation, angry locals tell their MP. People are angry that entire Merseyside communities are battling transport curfews, meaning they struggle to get to and from work, shops, Birkenhead Town Centre and hospital. Birkenhead MP Frank Field said he met dozens of local residents at the weekend who feel isolated in their communities and have particular concerns over the shortage of evening and weekend services. They say areas including Noctorum and Beechwood are cut off from the rest of town and so effectively placed under a curfew and are calling for the situation to be turned around. Mr. Field said anger was expressed at the curfew being imposed by Mersey Travel on different parts of Birkenhead. We were pleased to have Councillor Steve Fowkes, who is on the Combined Authorities Transport Committee, at both meetings in Noctorum and Beechwood. He said that he will address the petitions going in from residents. We will meet again in the same places in April for a progress report. Mr. Field has drafted a petition to Mersey Travel calling on the transport body to provide better services for the two areas, as well as multiple other areas of Birkenhead. Affected residents are concerned over the lack of services, as taxis are too expensive and many cannot afford cars. The sessions organised by Mr. Field's team took place in Beechwood and Noctorum on Saturday, with more than 500 people in attendance. He added, Birkenhead deserves better bus services, so we call on Mersey Travel, as a matter of urgency, to lift the curfew and ensure that adequate bus services are in place for residents in every part of Birkenhead. Birkenhead's bus services have suffered several significant setbacks over recent months. Mr. Field's calls also comes after Stagecoach last week announced that only late-night bus crossing the River Mersey from Liverpool to Chester via Birkenhead is set to be axed. The bus firm has launched a consultation on its early hours night service and said it intends to scrap it on April the 28th. The community was also dealt a blow when Avon buses, which is based in Birkenhead, collapsed last year, meaning while some routes were saved, others were axed. That includes the 83A, described as a vital lifeline.
This is taken from the Liverpool Echo on Tuesday, February the 26th. How Rovers star refused pay, then was declared as bankrupt. Tranmere Rovers player Ishmael Miller was declared bankrupt days after refusing to be paid by the club. The striker asked the club to freeze his wages while he recovered from injury. But just over a week later, he was declared bankrupt at a county court hearing in Stockport. The 31-year-old started his career at Premier League giants Manchester City, but failed to find the net in 20 appearances. The forward's career included stints at West Brom, Huddersfield Town, Nottingham Forest, QPR and Middlesbrough. However, the Cheshire-based footballer filed a bankruptcy petition last November before it was granted on February the 7th. At the end of January, his current boss, Mickey Mellor, revealed Miller wasn't getting paid. He came in to see me about a week ago and we had the conversation where he said to me, "Stop my wages until I get fit again," he told BBC Merseyside. He wants Tranmere Rovers to keep moving forward while he's out injured, which is possibly the first time I've ever heard that. I need everybody to understand how big a gesture that is from Ishmael at this moment in time. If he'd kept getting paid and waited until he got fit, nobody would have blinked an eyelid, as that's what's supposed to happen. People might say he's in a position where he can do that. Well, he doesn't have to do that now. He knows how tight things are at his club and where we're in terms of what we're trying to do. I think it says an awful lot about him as a man. Often footballers get bad publicity, but he thought about us and Tranmere first, says Mellor.
Lee as Serge Hotzer for Mersey millionaire lotto winner. The National Lottery has revealed that someone on Merseyside is a millionaire, but may not know it. A ticket bought in Sefton is a £1 million prize winner, but has yet to be claimed. Scour your cupboards, dig down the back of the sofa, rifle through your wallets and purses to find the life-changing lotto ticket that was bought on February the 9th, 2019. The lucky winner matched 5 main numbers and the bonus ball to bag the prize. These are the lotto draw numbers: 25, 27, 31, 36, 38 and 47, and the bonus ball was 12. The countdown is now on for the lucky winner to come forward before time runs out on August the 8th, 2019. Senior winner's advisor at the National Lottery, Andy Carter, said, "We're desperate to find this mystery ticket holder and unite them with their winnings. This amazing prize could really make a huge difference to somebody's life. We're urging everyone who bought a ticket in this area to check their old lotto tickets again or look anywhere a missing ticket could be hiding, so that this prize can turn someone into the newest member of the Lottery Millionaire Club. Try checking in the pockets of clothing, wallets, bags and down the back of the sofa. We have the champagne on ice and our fingers crossed that the lucky winner comes forward to claim their win. If you think you've got a winning lottery ticket, contact Camelot directly."
That concludes this week's reading of a selection of local news from the Liverpool Echo. We thank them for permission to record their material, the Royal Mail for deliveries and the fellow volunteers working on the LTN. When you finish listening to the USB stick, place it and the address card in the yellow postal wallet and return it to us. There's no postage to pay. Talking newspapers are covered by the Articles for the Blind free post concession. If you wish to contact us by phone, the office staff are only in the office on Thursday and Friday mornings from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Otherwise, please leave a message on the answer phone. The number is 0151 486 1400. As most of you seem to prefer putting messages in the wallets, you can continue to do so. Our editors for the magazine, news and Christian news teams would welcome feedback from listeners. It would be helpful to know if we're providing the items which you enjoy. And on behalf of everyone at the LTN, goodbye.
Goodbye.